Hi everyone, this is Damien, and in this video I'm going to talk about yet another terribly painful group of people who I have seen victimized in CIA human trafficking and MK Ultra mind control. This group of people, however, is not a group that one would normally consider to be victims. These are people who are being exploited by themselves and who are being enabled by CIA underground trafficking and mind control to perpetrate against themselves and, in many cases, others. But these are accounts of ruined lives nonetheless, and these are people who have ruined many others. I am talking about the group of wealthy people, usually but not always men, who have paid significant amounts of money, usually, to live deep underground in wings of military trafficking facilities like the one I grew up in, where they have typically their own room in which they pay to have basically whatever they like delivered. And a lot of these people have they have no contact with the outside world. Some may have minimal contact, most have none. In fact, it's often part of the deal that they don't get to ever speak to anyone above the surface of the earth again. I have seen wealthy men pay to live in deep underground shelters in which they are delivered meals and live almost exclusively in solitary confinement, except for the delivery of slaves to rape, kill, and or perform a variety of anywhere from seemingly vanilla to absolutely and completely bizarre acts of perversion. And I have looked into the eyes of these men and seen the blackness of their sociopathic hearts. Or really, the blackness that exists where their hearts should be. And I've seen people do this and live this way who had been doing so for decades. I can't explain the pain in my heart thinking about people who exist like this. I think that there are sociopaths all over the world who would pay to go into a place like this if they could, but don't have the means. And while I'm sorry to the people they victimize above the ground, I'm also glad in a way that they don't get to actually do that to themselves. I know that sociopaths, at least on the far ends of the spectrum, don't feel empathy anyway, but I can't help but feel that their suffering is only increased by that level of self-imposed isolation. And I honestly don't want to go into specific details about the things I've seen these people do. I think what I've said so far is enough for now. It hurts me to talk about, and it's not that my last video didn't hurt me horribly to talk about, but I'm a little bit more willing to hurt myself like that to talk about children who are lost than to talk about people like this. What I will say, though, is that I think it is important for us above the ground to have empathy, to connect with these people on a spiritual level. They may not ever consciously know it or ever develop any empathy as a result, but I feel like part of their isolation is that hardly anyone even knows that they exist. And I think that we can do a lot as empathetic people above the ground for the general energy of this planet by being mindful of the existence of these spaces. Not just of these people who have purposefully put themselves in isolation chambers like this, deep underground, but all of the activities that go on underground. The underground child trafficking rings, like the ones I grew up in, they may not be directly beneath your individual feet, you who are watching this, but you likely have driven over one or walked over one, and the emanations from it are real. In Qigong, people are taught to cycle their energy, to let the energy from the earth flow through them, to draw up from the earth while releasing what is within. A give and take. And in Qigong classes I've been to, there's been a presumption that the energy underneath our feet is exclusively healing. At least that's what I've picked up from teachers. And while the earth has tremendous healing capacity that I believe transcends anything that we human beings can do to it, we are of it, it is automatically bigger than us as it is our mother, I think that we need to be mindful of the energy coming from beneath us. We need to be mindful of what is in the soil. And I'm not even getting into what we have environmentally done to this planet on the planet's surface that has penetrated it below. I think that with mindfulness, we can change the disconnect that exists between the above ground and the underground. That by practicing energy work with the awareness of what is going on beneath our feet, we can find our way in drawing true healing energy from the earth and giving it back to the energy that is beneath our feet that is not so pleasant. Okay, that's all I have for this video. This was different than usual. Don't know what else to say. It's difficult for us to talk about. Thinking about that kind of loneliness is just unbearable. Thank you.